Race number 3 of round 4 in the AC40 Rookies awaits us. The riders holding position in the dummy grid. And it must be said, a very big grid of riders to look forward to this weekend. Scheduled to have 22 out there in this race. We'll see whether that number maintains, but as the riders make their way out onto the grid, it is set to be a very, very exciting race. The Rookies has been a very exciting championship, to put it politely, although, of course, it's the first step into your motorcycle racing career. It's the first step into FAB-Racing, and a lot of these guys are really more trying to get track time, getting used to racing rather than fighting for championships. You're looking at the likes of Emilio PEREIRA, Nellie NEWTH, Tommy Williams, who are our front 3 on this grid, coincidentally. They've been absolutely ripping it up out there, and well, looking like they're going to continue to do battle this weekend. Yeah, exactly. We've had 3 different riders take a victory. We've had 5 different riders take to the podium. And, of course, we've had 7 different riders take to the top 5 at least one time thus far this season. It's been incredibly competitive. Emilio PEREIRA, Jenson SEDRAS, of course, they struggled a little bit at Three Sisters, where Nellie NEWTH really did thrive, didn't she? She was absolutely flying. 3 wins off the bounce from pole position, even with a not a drive-through penalty, a jump start penalty of 3 seconds in one of the races. She was able to pull out, I think it was 5 seconds in the end, and still win the race. She did a little similar mistake this time yesterday and finished 4th because of it, so maybe her starts need to be sorted out ever so slightly, but she still sat 3rd in the championship. And coming into this weekend, there was only 17 points covering the top 3. It's their first step, but it's a good step indeed. It is indeed. Emilio PEREIRA, championship leader, starts from the pole. Nellie NEWTH alongside with Tommy Williams in P3. Row 2 is Austin DILKS, 3rd place in the championship. Jenson SEDRAS and Finley STILES alongside. Joey ATHERSYCH is 7th, with Randy Carter P8 and Reed SAXELBY P9, with Freddy TAYLOR rounding out our top 10. Alongside him is Noah BARFOOT and James DERMOTT in 11th and 12th. The 5th row is Logan PAISLEY, Emerson OAKLEY and GRAYSON. Row 6, Seth JAMES, Oscar Rowland and Oscar McALLISTER. Row 7, Claudia DUDMAN, Kasey REESON and Ethan BAYLISS. And the lone rider on row 8, Cayden BAILEY, rounds out our 22-bike grid here for race number 3 of round 4 here in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. As we said, Zach, always great racing in the Rookies. A very, very big grid of riders as well. And sure to be, you know, some proper elbows out, gritty racing as we've come to expect from this class this year. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, if the pros that we've just seen are anything to go by, the rookies hopefully are going to be just as aggressive and hopefully bring us some fantastic racing action. Just waiting, of course, for the signal. They've done their sighting lap. They're getting ready, of course, for 8 laps of racing around Rowrah. The front 3, of course, as you can see, lined up, ready to go. And let's see who's going to be able to take the top step of race 3 of round 4. Time will tell, but it's time now to switch our attention up to those red lights. They'll come on and they'll go off, and it'll be time to go racing. Championship leader Emilio PEREIRA lies on the pole position. Nellie NEWTH alongside, 3rd place in the championship. Jenson SEDRAS goes off a P5. It is lights out. We are underway. What a start from Nellie NEWTH. Rockets out into the lead. The 44 with a blistering getaway. Emilio PEREIRA can only sit and watch as the young lady squeezes on by and flies away, or tries to fly away into the distance. But PEREIRA already trying to recover, trying to put the attack on, already trying to cover up and gain that ground that he lost away from the lights, and trying to go the long way round as NEWTH runs very deep, coming through Erdell's hairpin. That's going to open the door for Emilio PEREIRA, neck and neck down the back straightaway. Nellie NEWTH with that straight line speed advantage, it would seem, just able to hold on to the lead for the time being. What a start that was though from the 44. She's been so consistently good at getting away from the lights, and once again she's done it today. When she does it on time and when they go out, she absolutely flies off them, and it's amazing. She got to the timing line before Emilio PEREIRA and before Tommy Williams. They didn't even have a chance to lead ahead of her before that timing line. So Nellie NEWTH, absolute rocket ship off that getaway, and leads the first lap ahead, of course, of Emilio PEREIRA, who's going to be settling into 2nd place. Tommy Williams behind that, ahead of Austin DILKS. Jenson SEDRAS completes the top 5. Nellie NEWTH, though, she is a force to be reckoned with, off the back of 3 race wins at Three Sisters, and of course doing one earlier on in the year at Lid as well. She is flying and showing them how it's done. Yeah, fine form for Nellie NEWTH at the moment, but Emilio PEREIRA, he is tenacious. He's not just going to let her get away. without having a bit of a scrap first. He is, of course, our championship leader as it stands and has been mighty so far this season. Not a great weekend at Three Sisters for him, unfortunately, as a rider down, up on his feet. Luckily, looks all okay. That seems to be the number 36 of Noah Barfoot, who's gone down. A real shame for him. He started P11, but up on his feet, Gracie's okay. Oh, another rider down there, just as the bike... Oh, that's Pereira! Emilio Pereira's gone down. That's coming into St. John's. What's happened to Emilio Pereira, championship leader, has had a moment and had an off, straight back up and onto the bike. But the 37, drama here at Three Sisters early on in the day, as Emilio Pereira, fighting for the lead, goes down. He's going to come back on into looks like P11. It looks like, what a shame for the 31. That crucially gives Nellie NEWTH breathing room up the front. She can now settle into a rhythm, and more importantly, for the championship, that's potentially a disaster. After a disappointing weekend at Three Sisters, Emilio Pereira really needed to stamp his authority in. An accident is not what he needed.
Yeah, especially obviously coming into this weekend only 11 points ahead of Jenson SEDRAS, who at the moment sits fourth. Of course, he's picked himself back up, he's back on circuit. Points mean prizes, they extend all the way down to P15. So just by getting to the end of this race, he should pick up a good couple of points. That's the last thing you want to round off your first half of the season. Let's see what he can do though, because still plenty of racing left to go. He might be able to recover at least a couple of positions. Recovered, of course, to P11, but only a couple of seconds off the next rider. Nellie NEWTH, of course, still setting in some blisteringly quick lap times. A 1 minute dead, 0.681 that last time by. Extends the gap to Tommy Williams to 3.1 seconds.
Nuclear stuff from Nellie NEWTH. After that crash from Pereira, who's managed to work his way back up into 10th already, but it's a long way to go to get back up into the fight for the lead. And only 5 laps left to go. It's going to be difficult for him. Nellie NEWTH leads the way with Tommy Williams in P2 and Austin DILKS rounding out our podium. Jenson SEDRAS is 4th with Finley STILES in P5 and Reed SAXELBY in P6. Joey ATHERSYCH is 7th, Freddy TAYLOR 8th, James DERMOTT 9th, and Emilio Pereira managed to get up to 10th at the line last time. That's your top 10 with 5 laps left to run. SEDRAS and STILES still battling. Reed SAXELBY not too far behind them, it must be said. If they continue to ding-dong, maybe this becomes a 3-way fight for 4th.
Potentially so. There's a look to the inside of the final corner. This, I believe, is the battle between Jenson SEDRAS and potentially Finley STILES as well, or even, Jenson SEDRAS and Austin DILKS, the 3 and the 4, battling for the podium place. So the number 2 versus the 85. There is, though, of course, our race leader, the young superstar that is Nellie NEWTH. So far has ticked off 4 race wins this season, coming into Rowrah, and is searching for even more. 4 laps left to go, has got the fastest lap of the race and is flying, not looking back at all. A good start, a good getaway, and that's the Nellie NEWTH theme, isn't it? She gets a good start and then doesn't really have to worry about anyone else. She just rides her own race.
Not only is she having a great season in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, I believe she's also leading the House of Moto All-Female Rider Cup that's been established this year in FAB-Racing. Of course, the first UK grassroots all-female competitor competition that's being run in Motorsport in collaboration with the House of Moto. It's across all classes, so it's not just, like she's competing against the other girls that are here in the Rookies Cup. And Nellie NEWTH is doing a great job of that at the moment, leading the way quite significantly. As there we see, Nellie NEWTH has actually just set a lap, a 1/10 of a second off the lap record that's been here since 2018, set by Henry McCartney back when he used to be a rookie rider back in the day. Only a 1/10 off, but Nellie NEWTH is getting close. She's really hammering the laps in. Maybe Nellie NEWTH fancies the lap record coming to the end of this one, as there we see the battle continuing to rage between SEDRAS and DILKS, currently for P3. Actually, no, that's SEDRAS and Tommy Williams, apologies. That's for P2. Oh, SEDRAS looking very racy coming through there, trying to look to the outside. The number 2 really wants to make his way up into P2 and might be getting it done here. Unfortunately, the door closed and he's had to back off as they head down into St. John's, but SEDRAS looking very, very racy as they're about to head on to our penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, not long left to go at all. Tommy Williams versus Jenson SEDRAS. Both of them have been able to boast themselves onto the podiums a number of times thus far this season, searching for one more. But which way round are they going to be? Because it seems that it's fairly set in stone they're going to be. Austin DILKS is closing in, and still with a lap and a half left to go, maybe there is an opportunity for Tommy Williams. Jenson SEDRAS, of course, SEDRAS putting in some decent lap times over the last couple laps to close in the gap to the 51. Of course, it's stabilised that last time bias to just sort of, well, he's been behind him, so he's not really been able to put in any decent lap time. But 2 laps left to go. The penultimate time by, next time by, will be the final as they negotiate and split the lap traffic. Bit of a defensive move from the 51. No way through just yet for Jenson SEDRAS, but he's eyeing it up, analysing the riding style that Tommy Williams is doing in front of him, seeing where he's quicker, seeing where he's slower, seeing where he can attack.
No way through for SEDRAS at the moment, but it's about to be the final lap of the race, and maybe that is the opportunity that he needs. Maybe he just needs a little opening, maybe a bit of pressure, knowing it's the final lap to try and squeeze his way past Tommy Williams. Or maybe Tommy Williams has got it all under control, cool, calm and collected underneath his helmet. So it should be a very interesting one. Nellie NEWTH, a bit more traffic to negotiate with there as they make their way through. Of course, no blue flags here in FAB-Racing. You just have to make your own way through. Sometimes when it's a big fight for the lead, the traffic can flip a race on its head. But Nellie NEWTH right now, 7.1 seconds ahead of Tommy Williams in P2. The only real pressure she faced was from Emilio PEREIRA, and after he had his off, it was basically done and dusted. She's put the visor down, she's gone for it and not looked back. What a performance from her. And well, with half a lap to go, she's already got 2 hands on the trophy, essentially.
Essentially, yeah, well, ideally she'd have 2 hands on the handlebars, and I think she is keeping that, but she's got 1 sector left to go. She's going to tick off another race victory in 2024 of FAB-Racing. Nellie NEWTH, a star of the future for sure. She's held off the pressure from Emilio PEREIRA. She's going to put, of course, the power down, take the checker flag, and race 3 of round 4 goes the way of Nellie NEWTH, the young superstar here in the AC40 Rookies class. What a race that was. She wasn't under pressure for very long, but she dealt with it perfectly and maturely rode the rest of the race. Nellie NEWTH, take a bow, 7.6 seconds ahead of Tommy Williams.
Nellie NEWTH takes the win from Tommy Williams from Jenson SEDRAS in P3. You can just see on the right hand of your picture the number 13 of Seth JAMES. Just want to talk about him quickly. He set to finish in P15, hasn't quite finished his race yet. But just a few weeks ago, Seth was celebrating overcoming a really serious battle with cancer. Now he's back at FAB-Racing and with a P15 finish. What a phenomenal result for that young man. What a phenomenal story. It's great to have Seth back in the paddock and great to see him back on the bike after a very serious illness, and we wish him all the best and all the best of luck for the weekend and the rest of the season as well. So a great job from Seth there in race number 3 of round 4, set to finish in P15. But up in P1, it was of course Nellie NEWTH who romped her way to victory. Tommy Williams in P2, Jenson SEDRAS unable to make his way round Tommy Williams but rounds out the podium. Austin DILKS was in P4 with Finley STILES 5th, Reed SAXELBY in P6, followed by Joey ATHERSYCH. Emilio PEREIRA able to recover up into 8th place. Freddy TAYLOR was 9th with James DERMOTT rounding out our top 10. He was followed by Randy Carter, Ethan Bayliss, Emerson OAKLEY, Daisy Grayson and Seth James, your top 15. And it was Logan PAISLEY, Oscar Rowland, Oscar McALLISTER, Noah BARFOOT, who was able to rejoin the race after an off early doors. Claudia DUDMAN was 20th and Cayden BAILEY was P21. Unfortunately, it looks like we did lose Kasey REESON in that one. That's it then for round 4 of the AC40 Rookies. They've still got 3 more races left to do this weekend, bizarrely, as they'll head into their 5th round. They start their 5th round a little bit later on today, set to have 2 races at the moment, and then just the one singular one tomorrow. But again, we'll see how the time goes. I doubt they'll squeeze all 3 races in today, but should be very exciting. Still 3 more races to come from the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup.
AC40 Rookies then about to get themselves underway to kickstart the second half of their 2024 FAB campaign. And to do so, we're going to be joined by 2 very, very lovely guests here in the commentary box. When they're all set up, we'll get them to introduce themselves and who they're cheering on for potentially in this rookie field. Because, of course, all these rookie riders taking their first step on a long ladder up through motorcycle racing. And, well, girls, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name's Lucy Curtis. I'm 13-year-old and I race in the Metrikit 70 class.
Hi, my name's Daisy Polden. I'm 10 years old and I race in Metrikit 50s.
Awesome stuff. And girls, how's your weekend's been going? Has it been all right?
Yeah, it's going good so far. I didn't do very well in qualifying, but I mean, I'm just going to have to get on with it really, but yeah, my last few races have been going well, so.
Daisy?
Yeah, my qualifying went good. My last race I did really well, and hopefully I can get 9th.
Hopefully so. Good top 10. It's a nice way. Has the demands of a long doubleheader weekend been taking its toll? You feeling tired yet, or are you still raring to go for Monday?
To be fair, I'm quite happy that it's a doubleheader for Rowrah because I quite enjoy the track. It's like very different at other tracks that we've been racing on. There's loads of different like hairpins, sweeping corners, chicanes. It's quite a good track.
I am a bit tired, but I do like Rowrah, so hopefully I can do well.
Fingers crossed. Well, let's run you through the grid for the AC40 Rookies. It's Emilio PEREIRA from Nellie NEWTH and Tommy Williams, 3 fantastic riders in their own right that will start from the front row. Austin DILKS from Jenson SEDRAS, that's the top 5. Finley STILES completes row 2, with Joey ATHERSYCH ahead of Randy Cutter. Reed SAXELBY, row 3. Freddy TAYLOR completes the top 10 ahead of Noah BARFOOT and James DERMOTT, that's row 4. Logan PAISLEY from Emerson OAKLEY and Daisy GRAYSON, the top 15 ahead of Seth JAMES, ROWLAND, McALLISTER, Claudia DUDMAN, Kasey REESON, BAYLISS and Cayden BAILEY, the 22 rider field ahead of us for the AC40 Rookies. And Lucy, who are we looking out for in this grid, do you think, to do well?
To be fair, I want all the riders to do well, but I'm looking out for Nellie NEWTH because she's part of House Moto team, but all female riders really, just because I feel like I want to give them extra support just because females aren't really recognised in motorsport racing, I don't think, but just hoping everyone has a good race, no crashes or anything.
Fingers crossed. And Daisy, very quickly, how important has the House of Moto support been for you as a female rider working your way through?
Well, it's been quite important because we get recognised more with the House of Moto, and it's been really helpful because we've gotten a lot of support money through it as well.
Amazing stuff. Well, AC40 Rookies, of course, one of those stars of the future of Nellie NEWTH, lined up in second place just behind Emilio PEREIRA. Of course, she got a fantastic launch earlier on for race 3 of round 4. Can she do the same again? As it's all eyes, of course, to the flag, then of course to the lights. Just some final setup, I think, in the background to finalise things, and then we'll get going for their first race of round number 5. Of course, they've got 2 more over the duration of this weekend, and we've seen some fantastic racing, it must be said, from the rookies thus far this season. Emilio PEREIRA, Jenson SEDRAS, Nellie NEWTH, the top 3 in the championship, looking very, very strong indeed. Bit of confusion, but hopefully it's all going to be good. So it's just them being pointed into the right grid slot, and hopefully, again, that can be sorted as soon as possible as well, because we want to get going. There we go, all good. Eyes to the lights. PEREIRA, NEWTH, Williams, the front 3. Who's going to come out on top as race 1 of round 5 gets underway? And once again, a sensational launch from Nellie NEWTH as she catapults herself into the race lead. PEREIRA under pressure from Williams as well as they negotiate the chicane for the first time. But Nellie NEWTH, what a launch once again into the race lead and looking to set sail once again. You proud of that start?
Yeah.
It's good going, isn't it? Not bad at all, of course, dealing with the pressure very, very nicely. How sort of chaotic is that race start procedure then, Daisy? Of course, as a rider, is it nerves, is it adrenaline, and sort of how do you do it well?
Well, it is a bit nerve-wracking when you're at the lights and the lights turn red and you start. The first lap is always a bit nerve-wracking, but once you get through it, you get your sort of you're in the rhythm.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's exactly what Nellie NEWTH needs to try and extract if she wants to go and take yet another victory thus far this season. Took the triple, of course, at Three Sisters a few weeks ago. Took a win earlier on in the season at Lid and has been riding fantastically all season long. I think that could well be a move for second place as PEREIRA is under pressure. Tommy Williams trying to find his way through as well. Finley STILES as well is riding up there quite nicely. But as they emerge the chicane for the second time, 7 laps left to run. It's Nellie NEWTH from Tommy Williams, Finley STILES, Austin DILKS and Jenson SEDRAS, of course, with Emilio PEREIRA inside that top 5 as well. Bit of kerfuffle going into that first hairpin. It's all about switchbacks. And girls, you both presumably raced Minimotos in your career. How important is that momentum, keeping that speed up?
You've got to be on top of it all the time because even just a slight mistake, anyone could just dive at the inside of you. You've got to be really aware of what's going on around you and make sure you make no mistakes, really.
Yeah, you do have to be quite careful with what move you're making and what you're sort of doing, because anything can happen and something might go wrong.
Exactly that. You've got to be so careful, particularly in a stacked grid like this when you're always under pressure. 6 laps left to go at the line. Nellie NEWTH still setting the pace, came tantalisingly close to the lap record. I think it was within 1/10 of a second earlier on in race 3 of round 4. She's going to be trying to kickstart the second half of her 2024 FAB campaign in a similar fashion. Is running away with it. What is she doing differently to the rest that makes her so good?
She's probably just keeping the throttle on longer, but she's flying. She's nearly got a 3-second gap on the second lap. So she's doing amazing.
She really is. Absolutely flying in front. 3 seconds, as you say, clear of Emilio PEREIRA, who is now trying to look backwards to keep Tommy Williams at bay. Daisy, if you're in Pereira's shoes, are you looking backwards to try and keep Williams at bay, or are you trying to go and close on Nellie NEWTH? At what point do you realise that maybe second's the best you're going to get?
Well, I would try go for Nellie because, I mean, it's good to get top 3, but you would want to not look back because that might distract you.
Exactly that. Of course, Emilio PEREIRA has got eyes on Nellie NEWTH, but maybe that initial getaway not good enough as they do negotiate a little bit of traffic. Of course, a rider that's probably on their first ever time on that bike, just trying to acclimate to things. And again, talk to us about your sort of first times on a bike. What is it trying to do it for the first time and slowly progressing to get better at it?
It's so nerve-wracking because you don't know what to expect. And it's just like everyone in this group's just beginners to like the class, the rookies. But like no matter where you are in the class, whether you're at front, at back, everyone's got nerves in them, and it's just everyone's trying the hardest for the race win.
Daisy, what would you be your sort of best bit of advice for someone who's never touched a bike before to get on and go?
I would just say to be confident, try your best, and just go for it.
Good advice. Just go. Just do it. It's the first step, isn't it? It's probably really nerve-wracking, but if you're thinking about doing it, just do what Daisy says. Just get on, go, and slowly build your way up. 5 laps left to go, by the way, and a very close fight, it must be said, for what is P2. PEREIRA leads this 4-bike train ahead of Tommy Williams, Finley STILES, and Jenson SEDRAS, all in contention. Nellie NEWTH is pretty much sailing into the distance, as Nellie NEWTH really does when she's in her rhythm, in her groove. As a look to the second part of the chicane there, Emilio PEREIRA really under pressure from Tommy Williams, who's eyeing up that move. Where do you think he can get it done, Lucy?
Just dive bomb him up the inside, really. Nellie's got such a big gap so far, so if she makes a little mistake, she has time. But Emilio's just be chasing her down and just trying to go for the race win is what they all are.
Pretty much, yeah, that is pretty much what you do. You go racing to win, don't you? Fair enough. Emilio PEREIRA, though, by the way, is under a little bit of pressure. I think they try and negotiate a small bit of traffic, but it is sort of disrupting this train, and all the way around the outside, I think that might well have been Jenson SEDRAS on Finley STILES making the most of lap traffic. And is that something that you've experienced, Daisy, at all? A bit of lap traffic, maybe able to sort of punch your way through for an overtake?
Yeah, I have experienced some lap traffic before. It is quite hard to get through, but you've just got to find a space to zoom past them.
Exactly that, especially with no blue flags as well. You've got to do it all by yourself as if it's a normal overtake. PEREIRA under pressure as Tommy Williams tries to find the gap. 1/2 tenth separate them at the line. Virtually nothing by the time they reach the apex of turn 1. 3 laps left to go. It's NEWTH from PEREIRA, Williams, SEDRAS and STILES. That's this little train that we're following right now. But the 31 of PEREIRA, of course, is in the groove. He's leading the championship. Do you think consistency is going to win PEREIRA this championship, or do you think NEWTH and her pace in the dry is going to come out in the end?
I think Nellie's pace is going to come out in the end. I mean, Emilio's got to get race wins to keep on top of the championship. Anyone could get it at this point.
What do you think, Daisy?
I think Nellie might be able to get the win, but maybe if Emilio concentrates a bit more and pulls back the throttle, then he might be able to get the win.
Potentially so. 2 laps left to go at the line. Williams searching around the outside, of course, through St John's, then into Sunny Bend. It's been quite a surprising opportunity to overtake there, but of course at the line it was 1/2 tenth of a second between Emilio PEREIRA and Tommy Williams. This time by it might be a little bit more stretched, but nonetheless, with 2 laps left to go, still very close indeed. Less than 1/4 of a second, but the all-important one, 4.6 up to Nellie NEWTH. It's absolutely sensational as to how quick she is, and potentially progressing up through pros, then to elites, maybe onto the Metric in a few years' time, and hopefully she's going to be going places. And is there any sort of advice that you'd give to Nellie NEWTH, maybe to help her find that extra edge?
I think it's quite hard when you're riding around by yourself. You've just got to keep focused and just make sure that no one's catching up with you. Get past traffic as quick as you can, and just like do it as if you're battling with yourself. Give you some markers in your head of where you got to try and reach for your brakes and stuff like that.
Exactly that. Tommy Williams out of the exit. A very, very good launch indeed. I think he's just going to blitz straight past Emilio PEREIRA, not really even give the 31 a chance to defend. No, swoops around the outside of St John's into second place with just 1 lap left to run. And now Emilio PEREIRA could well be under pressure from Jenson SEDRAS. There is Nellie NEWTH starting the final lap of her campaign, searching for her second consecutive race victory this weekend. Done it earlier on in race 3 of round 4. Is looking for it once again. And wow, what a race this has been. It's just been dominant force really for Nellie NEWTH. 5.7 seconds now is the gap. Not quite to lap record pace, still a couple of tenths of a second off that, but the consistency has been there. Absolutely no doubt for Nellie NEWTH. And is it easy to get distracted when you're racing around by yourself, Daisy? Do you sort of zone out a little bit, or does the bike keep you concentrated?
Yeah, well, it is a bit distracting when you're on your own and you might be at the front or the back, but you've just got to keep focused and carry on what you're doing.
Exactly that, and I think that's exactly what Nellie NEWTH has been doing pretty much all race long, as she does, gets the good launch and then runs away. Very rarely do we see Nellie NEWTH make an overtake past lap 1 because she doesn't ever need to. The pace is good enough. She qualifies well. She gets the start. She runs away from then on. 6-second margin. Sees the checkered flag first as Nellie NEWTH for the second consecutive time this weekend and kickstarts the second half of 2024 of FAB-Racing in fantastic fashion. 9 laps of racing goes the way of Nellie NEWTH. Tommy Williams and Jenson SEDRAS completes the podium. Emilio PEREIRA, in the end, it wasn't even good enough for a top 3. That is not the way you want to start the second half of the season when you're a championship leader.
No, congratulations to all the riders racing in the rookies. It's very hard. You're under loads of pressure no matter whereabouts you are on the grid. So congratulations, everyone.
Exactly that. Girls, thank you very much. You've both been very, very brilliant indeed. Good luck for the rest of your weekend. There, of course, you can see Nellie NEWTH, the highest achieving female racer award, of course, in collaboration with House of Moto, giving young female riders the support they need to progress through the ranks. And Nellie NEWTH is not wasting it at all, showcasing her talents here on the FAB-Racing YouTube channel and, of course, on Facebook. So do make sure you're saying hello if you're tuning in. Of course, we'll run you through the full finishing results in just a moment. There they are, Nellie NEWTH smiling away, and I'm sure she'll be very, very happy with another race victory this season. Tommy Williams is second, ahead of Jenson SEDRAS, who completes the podium on a last lap pass on Emilio PEREIRA, ahead of Finley STILES. That's the top 5. Austin DILKS, Reed SAXELBY and Joey ATHERSYCH. That's the top 8. Behind that, Freddy TAYLOR and James DERMOTT. Outside of the top 10 is Noah BARFOOT from Randy Carter, Ethan BAYLISS and Daisy GRAYSON. Emerson OAKLEY completes the top 15 and therefore the points scorers for race 1 of round 5. Thank you very much to our 2 very fantastic guests that we had in the comment box with us, and unfortunately we're going to have to say hello again to Ross McIntyre. I'm jealous because he's been given 2 rocks and it's not quite, I've not quite found myself getting one. I am supposed to be getting one, but he's got 2. Now we go from the pros, which have a little bit of experience in their motorcycle racing journey, to some riders that have taken just their first step. The AC40 Rookies, the same Minimotos, but just sort of that first year or 2 to acclimatise themselves to a racing environment. These are the riders that are on their first step of a very long ladder to the top in motorcycle racing, and so far has been one of the most competitive championships that we've seen. Emilio PEREIRA versus the likes of Jenson SEDRAS and Tommy Williams, but also Nellie NEWTH. If it wasn't for potentially a little bit of inexperience in wet weather at Ella Park, could well be really hammering on for some really good results in the championship. She has taken the most amount of wins of anyone so far this season for the rookies, and her pace in the dry is staggeringly quick. Not quite enough for pole position. We'll talk you through in the grid in just a moment. But what we've seen so far throughout round 4 and the beginning of round 5 is that Nellie NEWTH is a force to be reckoned with.
She has been on fire this weekend, to put it politely. Nellie NEWTH didn't get pole position. Emilio PEREIRA with a great lap to get onto that pole, but Nellie NEWTH in the races has just flicked a switch, and she is getting faster and faster every single lap as they get going on their formation lap. It is Emilio PEREIRA who starts on the pole, Nellie NEWTH alongside, and Tommy Williams completing the front row. Austin DILKS starts in P4 with Jenson SEDRAS 5th and Finley STILES in P6. Joey ATHERSYCH is 7th with Randy Carter and Reed SAXELBY completing the 3rd row of the grid. Freddy TAYLOR starts in P10 with Noah BARFOOT 11th and James DERMOTT in P12. Logan PAISLEY is 13th alongside Emerson OAKLEY and Daisy GRAYSON. Seth JAMES starts 16th alongside Oscar Rowland in 17th and Oscar McALLISTER in P18. Claudia DUDMAN is 19th with Kasey REESON in 20th. 21st is Cayden BAILEY. And rounding out our 22-rider grid is a debutant to FAB-Racing this weekend, Cayden BAILEY. You'll be seeing him at the back with his high-vis. This is his first racing weekend. For him, this is more about track time rather than competing. But it's great to have Cayden here. He's very much warmed up the paddock. Everyone seems to like him very much from what I can tell. So great to have him along, and we're hoping to see him at many more FAB rounds in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had two brilliant young ladies in here earlier, Daisy Pold and Lucy Curtis, to help commentate the first race of round 5 for the rookies. And I said, you know, what advice would you give to someone starting out? And Daisy just said, do it. Just get on a bike and go. It's scary. It's daunting. Granted, it's not an easy thing to go and do, particularly when you're sort of 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, you're still very young. You're not even really out of infant school going into primary yet. But just do it. Just get that nerve done. Get that weight off your shoulder and do it, because you will find it so enjoyable. So for Cayden BAILEY, fair enough. But we've got a championship to focus on. We've got the top 3 in said championship up there on the front couple of rows. Emilio PEREIRA, Nellie NEWTH, the 2 most important ones. Ice the lights. Can PEREIRA get that launch he needs? Of course, just waiting for all of the riders to line themselves up on the grid, and then they'll be pointed, directed to focus on the lights as to not miss the start. There they are. And there we go. Emilio PEREIRA gets a good launch, but Nellie NEWTH gets an even better one. Look for Tommy Williams as well as he tries to attack El Toro into the first chicane. Not quite enough, but Nellie NEWTH is through into the race lead as she does. Now is she going to check out, or can PEREIRA mount some form of pressure, some sort of challenge to keep her in check? Because her pace otherwise, her consistency is going to allow her to stretch away. A couple of moves in the background as well for sort of the lower places inside the top 10 and the lower points paying positions down to P15. Tommy Williams under pressure as well as Jenson SEDRAS and Finley STILES try to fight their way into contention, but so far so good for the young superstar that is Nellie NEWTH.
Nellie NEWTH using her 6th sense once again to just nail the launch away from the light. She's so consistently good at it. Sometimes she's a little bit too good and gets a jump start penalty, but then she's so far up in front by the end of the race, it doesn't even matter, as we saw a few rounds ago. But what a start that was from that young lady. Emilio PEREIRA, though, able to hold on to 2nd, withstood the attack from Tommy Williams and will be in P2 come the end of lap 1 as they come to the line now. A few changes for position elsewhere further back in the pack. Tommy Williams under some real pressure there from Austin DILKS, and as well Jenson SEDRAS getting involved on that number 2 machine. He'll be trying to move forward. Very quick round there this weekend has been SEDRAS. Maybe he wants to try and improve his position. Well, of course he wants to try and improve his position, but maybe he wants to try and attack now, and indeed he did have a look to the inside there on Austin DILKS. Unfortunately didn't come to nothing on that occasion, but SEDRAS early doors in this race already letting DILKS know, I'm here, we're going to be fighting.
Yeah, exactly, and I think we are going to start to see a train start to form behind Emilio PEREIRA, who of course is a fantastic rider in his own right, has won races and of course is leading the championship. But if Nellie NEWTH can continue this strong form, chipping away at that gap, who knows what we could be looking like when we head to Ella Park in a couple of months' time at the beginning of September to round off 2024 of FAB-Racing. But let's focus on the rest of this race first and foremost. Very close to going side by side there. Nice little move, it must be said, from the number 2 machine of Jenson SEDRAS to paddock bend. Nicely done. Up into 4th place. Now he's going to try and chase down the podium.
I mean, we've got a very interesting dynamic here in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup at Rowrah, because everyone else still has 2-3 races to do tomorrow. This is race 2 of round 5. These guys only have 1 more race. Their weekend is almost done and dusted. So what we're really seeing here is trying to finish off the weekend on a strong, while everyone else is, still very much in the midst of their battle and still going on, as there we see moves trying to be made. That was Reed Saxby, I believe, trying to get it, or not Reed Saxby, it was Austin DILKS under attack from Finley Styles, should I say, as Jenson SEDRAS has slid on through. And once again, on the defensive there, up the inside was Austin DILKS. Great defensive work to keep Finley Styles at bay. And meanwhile, Emilio PEREIRA still withstanding that pressure from Tommy Williams behind, doing a great job to hold him off. There is Jenson SEDRAS, who's broken free of the shackles that held him behind and is now starting to close in on the 2 in front in that fight for 2nd place. And elsewhere, still plenty of battles everywhere everywhere you look. The FAB-Racing Rookies Cup continues to put on a show for us. Again, many of these riders, this is some of the first racing that they're doing full stop. A lot of them, they're still getting used to being on track with other riders, still getting used to what it's like to be in a race instead of just whacking round and round on testing days. Well, some of these guys, you know, they're a bit further along in their abilities and their development. You know, the guys at the front like Emilio PEREIRA, Nellie NEWTH, Tommy Williams, your top three at the moment, who, you know, you could probably stick them in the AC40 Pros and be very, very competitive. So you've really got two very different kind of races going on out there. But all the while, everyone, A, is having fun, I'm absolutely certain, and B, is giving it their absolute all out on the track, and none more so than maybe these three here. Emilio PEREIRA, Tommy Williams, and Jenson SEDRAS in this fight for P2 are leaving it all out there and pushing each other completely to the limit.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just on that point about saying that some of these rookies could hack it up against the pros, just compared the pole times of Emilio PEREIRA to the qualifying times of the pros, and it would get him onto the second row fairly comfortably, probably in that sort of fourth or fifth range, in fairness to Emilio PEREIRA. So it just goes to show that these guys are very, very rapid in their own right. And of course, that initial stage, that first sort of growth is very rapid. Then you start to sort of try and optimize when you get into sort of the 50s, then the 70s, then obviously beyond FAB into the British Challenge Cup and Red Bull Rookies and things like that. But right now, there's almost an exponential growth. You're learning new things all the time. As Emilio PEREIRA, don't know where he's learned that move, but it was definitely brave, weaving in amongst the traffic going into Stewart's Bend. And of course, now sat in P2, fighting with Tommy Williams for that respective position, because I think Nellie NEWTH, she's checked out and she's gone. It's a fight for second.
It absolutely is. Of course, no blue flags here at FAB-Racing. You have to negotiate the traffic on your own accord. Unfortunately, that can sometimes cause a bit of chaos. That's what's happened there too. Jenson SEDRAS, unfortunately, just got held up by the traffic. Meanwhile, the 51 of Tommy Williams to the inside of the 31 of Emilio PEREIRA. Lovely move by Tommy Williams to make his way up into second place. That was superb. But Emilio PEREIRA, he's back on the tack up the inside. Does he go a bit deep? Yes, he does. That will give the 51 the switchback. But Emilio PEREIRA has the drive, and crucially, the inside line into Erdell's hairpin. And as quickly as they swapped back. PEREIRA back into P2. And I tell you what, actually look at that. Jenson SEDRAS, despite being held up by the traffic, because of those two fighting, already starting to catch them back up. So great to see Jenson SEDRAS showing some fantastic pace out there.
Yeah, exactly. He's done a fantastic job. And of course, yeah, negotiating traffic, it can go one way, it can go another way. Of course, you'll only learn how to get better through it with experience, but sometimes you can just get the short end of the stick and get a little bit of bad luck. But look at that, immediately he's starting to contest with the top two. Emilio PEREIRA from Williams, of course, that second and third. Almost have to see this as a separate race to the one that Nellie NEWTH is running out in front, because she is so far clear. Tommy Williams looking to the outside of the chicane, forcing PEREIRA to defend. Here comes Jenson SEDRAS as they have to weave their way through at Cayden BAILEY.
Yeah, awesome stuff there from all three of them to get through the traffic in an orderly fashion, and doing so bravely as well as they make their way a bit more traffic to contend with up the hill to Airedale's. Tommy Williams, not a great run out of McRae's hairpin. That could give Jenson SEDRAS a chance. Oh, SEDRAS a little bit too deep on the brakes, got a bit unseated as well. I don't think he was expecting to go that deep in the corner, had to adjust his body to get back on the bike. That's going to cost him a bit of time, but not a complete disaster. Not the end of the world. Still in this fight for P2 as time ticks on. The laps tick away. PEREIRA making his way now through St John's and into Sunny Bend. Can Tommy Williams try a late lunge? Not on this occasion. A bit too far back, but that has been a popular overtaking spot all throughout this race. As there we do see Nellie NEWTH taking the last lap flag. One more tour for this young lady before she is set to take yet another victory in the FAB-Racing AC40 Rookies class. She has been absolutely outstanding all weekend. And well, once again, look behind her. Absolutely nothing. She got the great start that she needed, and it's just gone.
Yeah, to be fair, there's not really much else you can say about it. She's been on fire, and when she's in her rhythm, when she's in her zone, when she's got that consistency, she just settles into her own pace. And like I said earlier, she doesn't ever really need to overtake anyone, because she's so far in front that she's just running around and riding around so well, so consistently, in such great pace. Not too far off the lap record. I think was only about a tenth or so off a lap record that Henry McCartney set that has stood for 6 years. Who is that off? In the background, Nellie NEWTH just negotiating it. We'll see her take the checker flag, of course, but I think a couple of issues that the the marshals might have to deal with. Nonetheless, nothing is stopping this young lady. She sees the checkered flag first and takes victory for race 2 of the AC40 Rookies here at Rowrah for round number 5. A couple of issues, of course. One of the riders has gone down, and we'll see, obviously, Emilio PEREIRA and Tommy Williams across the line to see what order they finished in, of course, as well. Yellow flags are out, but Nellie NEWTH, a lot to smile about today.
Absolutely. I think that was Seth James that went down there coming through Sunny Bend, so we'll get it confirmed that he's all okay for you in a moment. But Nellie NEWTH, what a run that was. Absolutely awesome from all of them. Let's run through the results, shall we? It was Nellie NEWTH taking yet another spectacular victory. 7 seconds up the road from Tommy Williams, who did manage to pip Emilio PEREIRA to the line by a 1/10 of a second. Unreal stuff from him. Meanwhile, PEREIRA third with Jenson SEDRAS just about missing out in P4. Austin DILKS was 5th with Finley STILES in P6. Reed SAXELBY 7th with Joey ATHERSYCH in P8. Freddy TAYLOR was P9. James DERMOTT in 10th. Randy Carter 11th. Noah BARFOOT in P12. Ethan BAYLISS 13th. Logan PAISLEY 14th. And Daisy GRAYSON was P15, as well as some other riders that finished further down the order. The FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, race number 3 of round 5 coming up next, and the riders getting ready to head out onto the grid. We are not expecting there to be a sighting lap. It'll be going to the grid and then going racing straight away. So from pole, it's Emilio PEREIRA, Nellie NEWTH and Tommy Williams alongside. Keep an eye on Nellie NEWTH. She's been the dominant force this weekend. Austin DILKS starts 4th with Jenson SEDRAS and Finley STILES on row 2. Joey ATHERSYCH is 7th with Randy Carter 8th and Reed SAXELBY in P9. Freddy TAYLOR is 10th. Noah BARFOOT is 11th with James DERMOTT 12th. Logan PAISLEY 13th. Emerson OAKLEY 14th and Daisy GRAYSON P15. Seth JAMES, Oscar ROWLAND, Oscar McALLISTER on row 6. Claudia DUDMAN is followed by Kasey REESON and Ethan BAYLISS, and Cayden BAILEY, a debutant this weekend in the Rookies Cup, is our sole rider on row 8. Again, we're not expecting there to be a sighting lap, so unless we do get one, I'm not entirely sure. Oh no, they are being sent around, so they are getting a sighting lap then. There we go then. I was told it was going to be 2 laps for the AC40 pros, and then that would be it, and no one else would get one, but clearly I was mistaken in that one. So as they head out then, Nellie NEWTH, she has been the dominant force this weekend, but slightly different conditions today. We saw a mix-up in the previous race from what we were expecting. Maybe someone could bring a bit of a challenge in race number 3.
Yeah, because right now Nellie NEWTH has won all bar one race, and that was one that unfortunately she won it on track, but she got a jump start penalty, which obviously is fair enough, but she wasn't able to outride this one like she was able to do at Three Sisters. But apart from that, she's been the dominant force. Her starts have been fantastic. She didn't put it on pole. In fact, Emilio PEREIRA did it by about 1.3 seconds, give or take, and that is a huge margin around just a 1-minute lap. But Nellie NEWTH and her starts and her consistency and her rhythm is so fantastic. It is amazing to see. But we know from Ella Park that when the track is cold and slippery and a little bit less ideal, sometimes it can maybe go a little bit wrong. So potentially Emilio PEREIRA and his experience maybe being a little bit more in tune with slipperier conditions, maybe he might be able to close in, or it's just going to be a case of Nellie NEWTH in unusual fashion here at Rowrah, because yeah, that young lady has been dominant in the AC40 Rookies.
She absolutely has, and what a weekend it has been. Of course, let's not take away from the other riders out there. Emilio PEREIRA has been doing a great job. The likes of Austin DILKS, Jenson SEDRAS, Tommy Williams in P3 as well. They've all been doing phenomenal stuff. Jenson SEDRAS and Tommy Williams having some great battles across the 5 races we've had so far, so keep an eye out for them. Elsewhere, further down the pack, the likes of Seth James return to racing after overcoming cancer. It's been inspirational to see him out on track, and he's doing a spectacular job as well. Emerson OAKLEY as well is one I've been keeping an eye on. He'll be starting P14. Should be interesting to see where he runs, but it will be all eyes on that front row at the race start. Nellie NEWTH, sometimes the race starts are perfect, sometimes they're more than perfect, and it's a jump start. But rest assured, she'll be rocketing away at the start.
One way or another.
Yeah, one way or another at least, anyway. You know, and it seems to be that she's always first down into the opening chicane, you know, and no one can really do anything about it. Maybe someone gets a better start this time. Maybe there's a bit of a slower start for Nellie NEWTH. And again, very different conditions to what we've seen over the remainder of the weekend. Maybe it's not just another job of getting on the bike and running away with it. Maybe someone can bring the challenge to her.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Emilio PEREIRA probably has a bit more experience with racing, and obviously to Nellie NEWTH, you know, it's probably the best way to not have experience in racing is because she's so far ahead, but we haven't really seen her have to battle or defend or attack. Emilio PEREIRA, though, he's had that in bucket loads over the duration of the season. If he's able to maintain that pole position, I think it might be maybe not his race to lose, but it would definitely give him a helping hand in sort of keeping Nellie NEWTH behind, because he knows how to position the bike to keep Nellie NEWTH behind. But maybe her overall pace will win in the end. What happens now? Emilio PEREIRA needs a good start.
He does indeed. The rider's getting ready to go. It'll soon be all eyes to the lights. Nellie NEWTH going from second. Emilio PEREIRA on pole. Tommy Williams on the number 51 alongside. It's time to go racing in race number 3 in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup in round 5 at Rowrah. It is lights out and we are underway once again. Wonderful start there from Nellie NEWTH. Bit of a problem from Emilio PEREIRA. He's going to get swamped, fall down to third, maybe fourth, as Tommy Williams inherits second. Emilio PEREIRA just able to squeeze in front of Austin DILKS. They're all trading places behind as they make their way down to McRae's hairpin for the first time, then pushing their way back up the hill. NEWTH already with a small gap starting to form, but Tommy Williams still has her in his sights. PEREIRA, a disappointing getaway. It's not been like him, unfortunately. He's been pretty solid at the light so far this weekend and indeed this season. Just this time couldn't quite get it to kick, couldn't quite get the launch that he wanted. He'll have to recover and make his way back up onto the podium, maybe back up into the lead into St John's though for the first time. You can see already how far ahead Nellie NEWTH is already starting to pull. That young lady has been so fast this weekend. Already, maybe it's not thinking about catching her, it's thinking about fighting for second, third, fourth place.
Yeah, pretty much that's all it's been all weekend, apart from that one race where unfortunately she jump-started. It has just been a race for second. Austin DILKS fighting away with SEDRAS, who's looking to the outside of the chicane. No way through, with 7 laps left to go. Very much our sprint races. There is the 85 under pressure, the number 2 looking to go to the outside through the first hairpin. No way through on that occasion, but we've seen Minimoto is all about momentum, all about keeping that minimum speed up, and that is why the switchback is so powerful.
It absolutely is. We do see some of the riders at the back of this leading pack, but as I say that, PEREIRA and Williams starting to break away. It's SEDRAS now looking to the inside of Austin DILKS. Nothing able to come out of it on that occasion, but SEDRAS has been looking so fast this weekend. And maybe we're trying to find his way through, move up into 4th position. Currently though, just having to sit behind, be patient as into Sunny Bend they go. Needs to be careful though, because right behind him is Finley STILES. Finley STILES is that classic rider that just likes to sit there and wait for the moment to appear, wait to pounce when someone makes a mistake, and that might be this moment here, because SEDRAS ran very wide coming out of Paddock Bend, but able to sweep back round and maybe sweeping around the outside. Oh, Jenson SEDRAS, this could be superb if he pulls it off, but unfortunately decides to back out. Got a great run out of the opening chicane. Now tucks back into the toe as they head up the hill. Looks like a slightly better exit there for Austin DILKS, but SEDRAS with the inside. Maybe he'll try to cut inside. We've been seeing a lot of riders do that this morning already, and indeed he does, but a better drive once again for Austin DILKS. He'll be holding on. Watch Finley STILES as well as he pulls all the way to the inside, maybe trying to try something, certainly having a look anyway, as Nellie NEWTH, with 6, soon to be 5 laps left to go, already 4 seconds ahead of the pack at the line last time, lapping 2 seconds quicker than anyone else. Also currently leading the highest achieving female rider award here in the FAB-Racing Moto, or FAB-Racing, and currently lapping, well, her best lap should I say, missed out on the lap record by 2 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, nothing. That is inconceivable really to the human eye, but that is the difference. Henry McCartney has held that record for 6 years. He's obviously off on bigger bikes, racing the likes of Marco Holt and things are side by side. Jenson SEDRAS looking to the outside of Austin DILKS, no way through on that occasion, but does get back underneath. Going into that second hairpin, the uphill climb, and the drive for Austin DILKS was a little bit better, so able to hold on to what is 4th place at the moment. There is side by side Emilio PEREIRA launching the counter-attack on Tommy Williams. He's been waiting half the race to do it outside line as they run their way through. Nicely done from the 31 El Toro, back in a 2nd place.
Nice stuff there from Emilio PEREIRA. Had to work for that one, had to set it up. You could see he was testing the waters over the previous few laps, seeing where can I try and make a move, where works, where can I stick it, where am I better than Tommy Williams. Ultimately decided that down into the Stewart Bend was the place to go for it. Set the move up, got it done. Very textbook, Very simple, but very, very effective. But it's not done yet because Tommy Williams looking to the inside at the chicane. But Pereira just sweeps on by, slams the door shut in his face. 4 laps left to run in the final race of the weekend in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. NEWTH already 6 seconds up the road. Pereira and Williams continuing to do battle for the podium places. Austin DILKS, SEDRAS, Finley STILES also all very, very tight together in this battle for all of them trading blows. Not necessarily trading places though. No one's really been able to launch a move and been able to make it stick so far as the leaders beginning to encounter traffic. This could change things.
Yeah, very much could. Of course, Nellie NEWTH, you can just about see her in the distance. Tommy Williams gets a great drive off of Stewart in towards, of course, St John's, but not quite close enough, I think, to launch a meaningful attack as they have to dart their way through traffic. There, of course, our race leader trying to do so, and our 2 protagonists at the moment for second place. 3 laps to go. It'll be 2 made at the line for race number 3 of round 5 of the AC40 Rookies. There is Tommy Williams looking to the inside of Emilio PEREIRA into the chicane, just goes outside of shot. There is that fight between Austin DILKS and Jenson SEDRAS as well. 2 fantastic battles now closing into their final stages.
Yeah, I think there may have been a mistake maybe from Finley STILES, or we got held up by traffic. He's dropped back a little bit from DILKS and SEDRAS in that battle for 4th place. Meanwhile, Pereira just putting a little bit of a safety net to Tommy Williams. Not a comfortable gap, but just gives him a bit of breathing space behind, a bit of time to recuperate, rest, relax, maybe just refocus from all the attacks and just enable him to get back to his best and continue to push on, continue to try and keep Tommy Williams behind. But as I say that, that's a lovely move maybe from Tommy Williams. Got the drive out of Stewart Bend and has just nailed it around the outside of Emilio PEREIRA. What a move that was from the 51, getting through some lap traffic now. Opportunity maybe for Emilio PEREIRA as he looks to the inside, decides not to go for the move into Paddock Bend. Onto the penultimate lap of the race they go. Penultimate lap of the weekend for these young riders, and the 51 of Tommy Williams with a great move to start off his morning and end his weekend as he blasted it out of Stewart Bend. But Pereira, he's going to make Tommy Williams fight for it. He's already got through once. Can he get through again? He spent a lot of time following Williams, and as I say that, drawing alongside, he knows where to make the move, and he knows clearly not the move to make on the outside. Down the inside though, wonderful, wonderful from El Toro. Up the inside, Williams gets the drive though as they blast down the back straight. El Toro goes defensive. Pereira holds on once again. As I said, spent a lot of time following Tommy Williams early doors in this race. He knows where he can make the move. He's seen the lines that Tommy Williams is taking. He knows where he's better. He was at an advantage in that situation.
Here is our race leader, Nellie NEWTH, about to embark on her final tour of Rowrah Circuit, and what a tour it's been for Nellie NEWTH. She has won 5 of the 6 races so far this weekend. The only one she lost, she won on track but had a penalty and had to drop back to 4th place because of it. She's got 3/4 of a lap to go to do the sweep for round number 5 of the AC40 Rookies Cup here for FAB-Racing. Nellie NEWTH, she's rapid. There's no 2 ways about it. Her starts are fantastic. Her consistency is amazing. What's going to stop her?
I would say star in the making, but Nellie NEWTH is already a star here at FAB-Racing. A very popular young rider, of course, one of the many young female talents that we have here at FAB-Racing, leading the all-competitor female cup championship that's been set up in collaboration with the House of Moto, and on her way for another fantastic race win. Her last race of the weekend for Nellie NEWTH. It has been a weekend of dominance, it's been a weekend of excellence, and it's been a weekend of winning. It will be the 44 that takes the checkered flag once again. Race number 3 in round 5 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship Rookies Cup goes the way of Nellie NEWTH. Is to the line. Emilio PEREIRA gets second by under 1/10 of a second from Tommy Williams. But once again, the story of the rookies is all about that young lady. Nellie NEWTH has lit up the track and shown us what she can do. The future is very, very bright for her.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, with the collaboration from House of Moto, she's only going to get more exposure. She's going to showcase her talent. potentially maybe a championship contender as well. The recovery that she had, of course, that dip at Ella Park, but as a back on firing form from Three Sisters into Rowrah, we could well have a three-way fight for that championship. Let's take a look as to how things racked up then after 9 laps of racing action. It, of course, was Nellie NEWTH, 2 1/1000ths of a second off the lap record set by Henry McCartney. Very, very close, but the wins are much sweeter. Emilio PEREIRA from Tommy Williams, that's the podium, ahead of Austin Dilks, and Finley Stiles, the top 5. Behind that, you've got Freddy TAYLOR and Joey ATHERSYCH. And then comes Randy Carter, James DERMOTT, and Noah Barfoot, the top 10. Behind that, Ethan BAYLISS, Jenson SEDRAS, Oscar ROWLAND, Emerson OAKLEY, and Daisy GRAYSON, the top 15, and thus our point scorers. And then you have got a couple of riders, Seth JAMES from Logan PAISLEY, Oscar McALLISTER, Kasey REESON, and Claudia DUDMAN, the final rider to take to the checker flag. Most of them did manage to do so. That was the AC40 Rookies, round number 5 in the books, and pretty good weekend for Nellie NEWTH.
Well, pretty good by her standards. I'm sure she'll think that was pretty casual, do it as she does. But Nellie NEWTH, what a weekend once again for the number 44